Okay, so the first step for this project was to create the holes at the bottom of the bus, and the way I did this was using a hot soldering iron. I let it heat up and then gently poke the holes into the bottom of the bust. I then got the inner core wire, threaded it through the holes and twisted it off and tied them into place. The next step was to pack out his waist and the legs using tin foil. That way you don't use a lot of clay, so you conserve in your clay. And the way I did this was just simply tearing it off, tearing it into chunks, packing out his waist, packing out his legs, and then I taped around it using masking tape. So for those of you who follow me on Instagram, you'll already noticed the mistake that I made. I packed out his waist too much, and then I went on to apply the clay and realised that I give him an elongulated spine and midriff. So I did go back and correct this mistake, but I just want to show you this is the process I did use to pack out his legs and apply the clay. And there you can see the finished legs. After I'd taped it up with a masking tape, I then went over it again with one layer of tin foil. Now, as I mentioned, this was my first attempt and I had packed the legs out too much, so when I applied the clay on top of this, his legs were actually way too thick. So this was the outcome of the first attempt for this figure, and as you can see, his waist is too long, the legs are too wide, and they're also too long. I did like how the muscles came out, how I managed to mould the muscles to look really good. So I did keep them as for reference, but I had to take it all apart and start again from scratch. I went back in and reduced the width of his waist, repositioned the legs so they were wider apart, and then went back in and repeated the process, making sure that I didn't put too much tin foil. I just wrapped the tin foil around the wires instead of opening the wires out and packing the tin foil in between. This way the legs weren't too wide when I applied the clay. And this was the outcome of attempt number 2. 10 times better, everything's in proportion, the legs are the right length, and the boots look great as well. The muscles looking great in proportion with the muscles in the top half of the actual bust. So I was over the moon with the way the second attempt came out, and like I say, trial and error, and after the first attempt went completely wrong and everything was out of proportion, went back to the drawing board and the second attempt came out fantastic. So for the inspiration for his throne, I did look at a lot of different variations of his throne, from the comics to the movie to this figurine, this custom figurine here, and this is the one that I eventually settled on. I liked the way the skulls were coming out of the arms of the throne himself. So this is the reference photo that I was using for the starting point for my throne for Thanos. This is I've made it all out of card. Unfortunately, I lost the video, but this was the outcome. Now, I did manage to find, with it being around Halloween, I found the 2 little skulls that I could use, and they just simply glued into place. I used my good old Gorilla Glue and filler to get the effect that I wanted on the throne, and basically I just mixed it together. And you want to mix it to it's not so much a paste, it wants to be thicker than a paste, and then I spread it on, and that gave it the rock looking effect for the throne. So as I mentioned, I was using this picture here of Thanos' throne for reference, but then I also came across this one from the Avengers. This is Thanos from the MCU, and I did like the top half of the Thanos throne from that, so I decided to amalgamate the both. And you've got the skulls at the bottom from the figure custom, and then you've got the fans on either side, call them fans on either side of the throne at the top. And I just thought it was a good way to pay homage to both the Thanos marquee on his throne figure, as well as the MCU Thanos on his throne from the movies. So once the filler and glue mixture had dried and you got the rock effect all over the throne, I then went in with some grey acrylic paint and painted the whole thing grey to give it its base colour. And once the grey acrylic paint had dried, I went in with some shoe polish to give it the textured dark effect. Without further ado, it's time for the final reveal.